Behind the Red Wall, China is panicking. There is an implosion happening as cargo shipments have dropped by 9.7% since Trump's tariff hikes. This is having a wide ripple effect within the export-reliant regime. And so China naturally is starting to crash out and lash out in real time, threatening American peasants that they will suffer and cry over Donald Trump's tariffs. Take a look at this gem of a video coming out of Hong Kong from Jia Baolong.
行政长官，香港是美国最大的贸易顺差地，但美国依然对香港如此加征关税，简直是蛮横霸道、无耻之极。这让世人更加看清，美国见不得香港好，是破坏香港人权自由、法治秩序和繁荣稳定的最大黑手。他不是要我们的税，而是要我们的命。美国一而再、再而三对香港进行遏制打压，换来的只能是其在香港的代理人的加速灭亡，最终必将反噬其自身，让美国那些乡巴佬们在中华民族5000年文明面前去哀鸣吧。
You can practically hear the panic amid all the posturing. But what these communist leaders just don't seem to get about the US is that during this trade war, while prices will go up, most Americans still haven't even really felt China's retaliation, such as the strength and power of our markets. The rhetoric coming out of China, like the warning about American peasants suffering, is happening because China is being cornered. And this is a self-inflicted wound. China overreacted when Trump launched his initial reciprocal tariffs. This was a big mistake by Xi Jinping. He expected other nations, when he retaliated, to follow suit, and instead found himself alone on the world stage, as even the EU has come to the table now to negotiate with Donald Trump. By Trump pausing his reciprocal tariffs when he did on the rest of the world, China was left out in the cold, isolated, and alone. And they are now facing the real economic perils of their actions. Which, by the way, in my opinion, is just desserts for their many decades of theft, fraud, and industrial takeovers by force that they have inflicted on the rest of the world. So I don't really feel bad for the Chinese government right now. Now, to make matters worse for China, to try and offset the US tariffs, they threatened to offload a massive excess of cheap goods into the global market. They were attempting to offload much of it onto the European Union, but the EU is having none of it. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has flat out said that they will not tolerate China redirecting its surplus to flood European markets. And it doesn't just stop there. More and more tech giants are announcing production and plant building in other countries outside of the Red Wall. For example, Nvidia just announced a $500 billion investment in an AI supercomputer manufacturing plant that will be built entirely here in the USA.
And by the way, as a footnote here, Nvidia just said it will produce supercomputers entirely built in the US.
Thank you so much. You scored another major investment win this morning when Nvidia pledged to build its AI supercomputer, the first time ever, right here in the United States. Thank you. What is your reaction to this announcement, sir, and how will this positively benefit Americans across the entire country?
Well, it's one of the biggest announcements you'll ever hear, because Nvidia, as you know, controls that almost the entire sector, which is one of the most important sectors in the world, between chips and semiconductors and everything else. And they're the biggest. And the other biggest we already have coming in is spending $300 billion, as you know. They announced 2 weeks ago. It's big. And the reason they did it is because of the election on November 5th and because of a thing called tariffs. As I say, the most beautiful word in the dictionary. After love, God, relationship. The press actually, and they're coming in here in the biggest way with hundreds of billions of dollars. Not like millions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, and I'm honored by it.
This is an article from the Post-Millennial talking about this. This was published yesterday. They said Nvidia to invest $500 billion in US-based AI, launches first ever production of US-made supercomputers. Within the next 4 years, Nvidia plans to produce up to $500 billion of AI infrastructure within the United States. For the first time, Nvidia will be mass-producing AI supercomputers in the United States, as the computer chip giant will be wrapping up production of its Blackwell AI chips in Phoenix, Arizona. Nvidia published a press release on Monday morning announcing that the company would be working with its manufacturing partners to design and build factories that for the first time will produce Nvidia AI supercomputers entirely in the US. The company announced that it has started to produce its Blackwell chips at the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or the TSMC, manufacturing plant that is located here in Phoenix, Arizona, and will be building a supercomputer manufacturing plant in Houston, Texas. Production for the chips as well as the supercomputers will be ramping up over the next 12 to 15 months. This comes, the post-millennial writes, as the Trump administration has been calling for more investment into the U.S. and brokering deals with other countries and tech companies to invest in energy, AI technology, as well as other technology within the United States. The company's stock, unsurprising, saw a bump in the market with the announcement. The Trump administration's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said in response to Nvidia's investment that this is the plan. Within the next 4 years, Nvidia plans to produce up to $500 billion of AI infrastructure in the United States through partnerships with TSMC, Foxconn, Wistron, Amkor, and SPIL. These world-leading companies are deepening their partnership with Nvidia, growing their business while expanding their global footprint and hardening supply chain resilience, which is just saying a way to harden themselves from China's theft and dominance. Founder and CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang, said, "Adding American manufacturing helps us better meet the incredible and growing demand for AI chips and supercomputers, strengthens our supply chain, and boosts our resiliency." Now, don't think that China is out of the game just yet. They still have a number of cards to play, or they will try to play anyway. They have their grip on rare earth elements. They have a near monopoly there. And they have a large industrial powerhouse at their fingertips. But the cracks are showing for this regime. Deflation, fleeing foreign investment, and a labor market that is buckling under the trade war strain is driving things down for China. And more importantly, for the communist regime, as with any dictatorship, their power is only ever as strong as the overall contentedness of their citizenry. If China's economy craters too harshly, if their citizens take another bloodbath after just getting through the pandemic nightmare, leadership in the regime could change in a blink of an eye. There will be plenty of greedy party members within the CCP, within Xi's own coalition, who would love to take command and make deals with the US and take all the credit. So anything could happen. But in the meantime, I expect China to continue to lash out. I expect more currency devaluation and dumping of US debt, which might make things a bit messier in the short run. But President Trump is betting that their economy will crack before America's resolve does. And you know what's important here? The American people are betting that he's right. His approval rating remains at an all-time high. And as long as he has the backing of the US citizens behind him, China is going to be in for a very, very long ride.